Hello everyone, and welcome to the next in our series on spiritual growth. This week we're seeing how poetry can be a rich source of inspiration, and how looking at different words, just like we looked at images before, can help us encounter God. Here's Sue Raby as she shares her thoughts on poems that have helped her develop her own prayer life over a number of years.
I wonder what the word poetry brings to your mind. For decades, for me, I was taken back to my classroom and to English lessons with a dull and grey teacher who attempted to dissect poetry in order to bring about some understanding to my dull mind. I'm afraid her efforts were lost on me. In more recent years, however, I've come to really appreciate some poems as they've opened up for me wonderful treasures. And of course the Bible is absolutely full of poetry. If we go back to the book of Genesis, continually through that song of creation we have the refrain, "And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day," and so it continues. And of course we have the Psalms. And who could forget the Song of Songs, so wonderfully rich in metaphor and simile? I think the key to appreciating poetry is to find a poet whose words really resonate for you. And for me, Mary Oliver is the lady. She used to walk each morning and then come back and reflect on what she'd seen or on something that had touched her. The first poem I'd like to share with you is one by Mary Oliver, and it's called Invitation. During the early weeks of lockdown, when pretty much all I was doing outside the house was walking on Epsom Common, these words really spoke to me. And I don't want to lose the wisdom that is held within these words as we begin to get out and about a little bit more. I'll just read the first and the final part of the poem for you. Invitation. Or do you have time to linger for a little while, out of your busy and very important day? For the goldfinches have gathered in a field of thistles for a musical battle, to see who can sing the highest note, or the lowest, or the most expressive of mirth, or the most tender. And it continues, and then it ends with these words. Just to be alive on this fresh morning, in this broken world, I beg you, do not walk by without pausing to attend to this rather ridiculous performance. It could mean something. It could mean everything. It could be what Rilke meant when he wrote, "You must change your life." Or how about this one, entitled Praying? It doesn't have to be the blue iris. It could be weeds in a vacant lot, or a few small stones. Just patch a few words together and don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest, but a doorway into thanks, and to silence into which another voice may speak. For me, that said so much about what prayer might be for us. Sometimes I find that poems really challenge some of my dearly held beliefs. What does this one say to you? It's by Edwina Gately, and it's entitled God Ran Away. God ran away when we imprisoned her and put her in a box named church. God would have none of our labels and limitations, and she said, "I will escape and plant myself in simpler soil, where those who see will see, and those who hear will hear. I will become God believable, because I'm free, and I go where I will." Quite challenging, I found. You might even like to try writing your own poem. Haiku poetry is a great place to begin. Each verse has just 3 lines and 17 syllables. 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables in the second line, and 5 syllables in the third line. You need only write one verse, or you could write several verses. Here's one entitled Crucifixion by Edith Perkis. I'll read just the first couple of verses to give you an idea. A cruel death this, stripped naked, slow dying, body racked with pain, palms throbbing, palms shattered, throbbing, knees twisted, ankles fast locked, bleeding, feet splintered. The poem continues, each verse having just 17 syllables. But for me, it brings so much more meaning and feeling to the crucifixion narratives in the Gospels, as it forces us to go beyond the bare facts that we read in the Gospel stories. I found that poetry can help me to understand myself better. It's often challenging, but it can deepen in us the mysteries of God. It can encourage our minds to think in metaphors. It can lead to surprises and to tears. These poems you'll find on the church website if you'd like to look at them again. Do have a look if you're interested, and enjoy.